embark on the Great Canadian Farm Tour, it is important to acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of Indigenous peoples. Agriculture in the Classroom Canada recognizes and honors the enduring presence of the diverse Indigenous communities across Canada, including the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. We acknowledge the deep connection that Indigenous peoples have to the land, waters, resources, and all of agriculture. We express our gratitude for their stewardship and custodianship of these lands for generations. Agriculture in the Classroom Canada recognizes that acknowledging the traditional territories we reside and work on is only a small step towards reconciliation. We ask that we all continue to learn more about the Indigenous peoples in these regions, to consider the history and ongoing colonialism on this land, and to reflect on how each of us can contribute to reconciliation. Hello, bonjour! Welcome everyone to our next stop on Season 5 of the Great Canadian Farm Tour. Bienvenue à tous à notre prochain arrêt de la saison 5 de la Grande Tournée des Fermes Canadiens. We are so excited to have everyone join us today from across Canada. Nous sommes ravis que vous soyez tous là aujourd'hui, venus de partout au Canada. My name is Mercedes from Agriculture in the Classroom Canada, and I'll be your MC for today. Je m'appelle Mercedes d'Agriculture en Classe Canada, and je serai votre maître de cérémonie aujourd'hui. Before we get started, we just want to provide a few reminders. For those who want to follow along in French, please use the blue Slingo link provided in the chat to access the interpreting services provided for today. We ask that everyone is mindful that this is an educational event, so inappropriate conduct happening in the chat, such as spamming or improper comments, will not be tolerated. Throughout the tour, we welcome you to post your questions in the chat to get them answered. We'll answer as many questions as possible. The mystery word for your student activity books will appear at the end of the episode, so please stick around. Students, fun learning will be happening that can be written in your student activity books, which will be shared during the brain break. Finally, we'd love to know where everyone is joining us from. Please comment in the chat your school and location. Now, we would like to welcome our next tour host of the Great Canadian Farm Tour, Britney, who is an ostrich farmer from Struisvogel Ranch in Ontario. So just bring in Britney right now. Hi, Britney.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Britney, thanks for joining us today. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, I'm an ostrich farmer in Carring Place, Ontario, and we have about 100 ostriches on our farm. We spent a year in South Africa in 2010, so quite a few years ago. And while we were in South Africa, we visited some of the largest ostrich farms in the world there. And once we came back to Canada, we just could not stop thinking about these ostrich farms that we visited and toured. And we loved eating ostrich meat, and we loved the sustainability of raising ostriches. And so we just kept thinking about it until we said, you know what, we got to jump in. We just got to buy some ostriches and try ostrich farming in Canada. They can survive the Canadian winter. So kind of once we realized that, we're like, why not? What do we have to lose? Let's try it. So we bought our first 10 baby chicks and started buying some adult birds. And now today, our numbers are always changing a bit, but we're at about 100 ostriches right now. And there's no turning back now. We love it.
Wow, that's so amazing just to hear about your story, and I'm so excited to learn more about ostriches. So thank you for being here today, and thank you to everyone across Canada for joining us today. So I will take a quick leave, and I'll be coming back periodically to share the questions from students across Canada, but I'm going to turn it over to Britney, who's going to get us started to learning more about ostriches. So I will be back.
All right, so just going to show you around a little bit. This is our ostrich farm store. So here is where we run our tours and we sell our different ostrich related products. So we have swag and fun stuff, but we also have a lot of ostrich related products like our ostrich oil. We have ostrich feathers that we create into keychains, ornaments, a bunch of different things. We have a bunch of other ostrich feathers here. Planters made from our ostrich eggshells where chicks have hatched from. And we have our meat that we sell in our store as well. So this is all in our first barn that we built. And it's the traditional red classic barn. So this is our kind of tour barn / store. And I'm going to first talk to you about our little baby ostrich chicks that we have. So I'm going to start from our incubation into hatching and then show you our little baby chicks we have. And then in the next session, we'll talk about our adult ostriches and I'll show you around our adult ostriches. So I'm just going to walk you through a few rooms here till I get to our incubator.
Brittany, as you're walking there, we have a question from Zoe who's wondering, do you have different kinds of ostriches or is there just one kind of ostrich?
Yeah, there are different kinds of ostriches. Most North American ostriches are a mix between blue and blackneck, but there are three different kinds, a blue neck, a black neck, and a red neck. The redneck are known to be a little more feisty and difficult to farm, so it's not usually a breed that's in North America. Blue neck ostriches are the largest birds, so they're great for meat birds. Black neck have a great personality, easy and calm, and so the mix between the blue and black neck is what most North American ostrich farms have, and that's what we have on our farm. So yeah, this is our incubator here. So this is where we collect our eggs that are laid from our birds, and then we put them in this incubator. It kind of looks like a big, massive fridge, but it is an incubator. It is nice and warm, and it's specifically made for ostriches. So it's actually called, ironically, a big bird. You can see there. So we put our eggs in here, and they're in our incubator for 42 days. And once the 42 days are up, in the last 3 days, we'll move them out into our hatcher, and that's where they can hatch. And this machine will automatically tilt the eggs every 4 hours. So those little holders that are holding the eggs will tilt every 4 hours to mimic the hen as it chooses to rotate the eggs in her nest. So that's our incubator there. So I'll show you now our hatcher, and that is where the eggs go after this stage. So on day 39, we move them out of here, move them into our hatcher. And we do actually have a chick hatching today, which is great, so you guys can see. So this is our other machine here, and it just has baskets in it, and it's kept at a nice warm temperature. I'm going to open up the door here, and then I can show you the little baby chick that's hatching right now. So there's a little chick. You can see its beak, see its little eyes, and then that's its toenail right there. So that's its little toe. So they use their beak and their sharp toenails to break out of the shell because it's a very thick shell.
And we have a question from Alex, just to interrupt you for a second, who's wondering how many eggs does an ostrich lay?
Yeah, that's a great question. So each hen will lay about 40 to 50 eggs in a season. So ostriches lay one egg every 2 days, but they don't lay in the winter time. So they lay from May until the end of August. So once you calculate kind of those days and every second day laying an egg, it reaches around 40 to 50 eggs a season per hen. Yep, so that's the little ostrich there. It takes about once they're about at this stage, takes about 3 hours up to 2 or 3 days for them to completely get out of the eggshell. So it's a lot of work. They do a lot of sleeping. Like right now, he's got his eyes closed, pretty much sleeping and resting. And then they'll get kind of more active and start kicking and breaking a piece, and then they'll go back and sleep for a few hours. So it's a lot of work. They take a lot of energy and take a lot of time. We don't want to rush the process either, so we kind of let the ostriches hatch out of the eggshell as much as they can on their own. And then we're waiting on these other two to hatch eventually as well. It's kind of the end of our hatching season, so we only have a few eggs every week now. And then the end of our hatching season will be in 4 weeks, and then we'll start up again in the springtime. So that's our hatcher there. Once they hatch, and they kind of stay in these baskets for 3 days, dry out, and then we move them over into this room here, where we have a bunch of ostriches.
Wow.
These are kind of our
walking
Babies.
over, Brittany, just to interrupt, is
Yeah.
Penelope in grade 5 is wondering how big does an ostrich get? And maybe we'll see that in a little bit, but just wanted to put that question out there for you.
Yes, yeah. So they grow so quickly. They grow a foot a month and they get up to about 9 feet tall. So if they're stretching their neck out nice and tall, our big male ostriches will be about 9 feet tall. And there's some more of our little guys. And some more here. So they kind of have little spaces where they can go in and outside once they get a bit older. Our others that are just a week old, we still put them in a smaller area here. And these guys are raised up off the ground in a little space because they're just a week old. And so they kind of look like hedgehogs almost at this stage. So that's like the bones of their feathers. And as they get older, they'll start, their feathers will start growing out from there and they'll be nice and soft and fluffy. But at this stage, they're not prickly, but they're also not super soft yet. And they've got little stripes and spots on their neck, and that's for camouflage in the long grass. As they get older, then that the stripes and spots will fade out, and they won't have that anymore because they're too tall to be in the long grass anymore.
That's actually great that you just started talking about that because Ellie was wondering if the ostrich feathers change colors as they age. And you kind of mentioned that they lose their spots. Does anything else change about them?
Yeah, and their feathers will actually change as well. So the females will stay a grayish brown color. And then once they all actually have a grayish brown color until they're about a year and a half. And then at a year and a half, the males will start growing black and white feathers. And they'll kind of be your classic looking ostrich that most of us know and see is the black and white. That's the male. And the female stays a grayish brown color. So yeah, once we walk around and see the bigger birds, I'll point out a male and a female, and then you can really tell the difference. But at this stage, you can't tell the difference until they're about a year and a half.
We have another question from Asher. Can ostrich eggs be different colors? So are they just all the same color or can they be different colors?
Oh yeah, that's a great question too. So they are all the same color. Some will be maybe a little bit more white and some will be a little bit more creamish color, but unless you're inspecting them really close, you can't really tell the difference. So yeah, they're typically the same size, same color.
Wonderful. And we're going to do one more question before we head into our commercial break. So here's our next question. Kate and Carly are wondering how cold of weather can ostriches live in, especially since in Saskatchewan they get up to negative 40 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, exactly. They can handle the freezing cold weather. So sometimes in Ontario, we can get around minus 35 too. Probably we've hit minus 40 with the wind chill at times as well. And so they are fine. They do like a three-sided shelter. So they do like to be able to shelter out of the wind and the rain and the snow and ice too. But they can, yeah, handle that freezing cold temperature and as long as they have a bit of a break from the wind. And they also, yeah, they love the snow. They'll be out here catching snowflakes in their beak and running around in the snow. But they're not a clever bird. They're not smart at all. So they will slip and slide with their two legs on any ice patches. So we do be very careful on the amount of space they have in the winter in order that they don't have any injuries.
Wonderful. Thanks for all these questions so far. We'll now take a brief brain break to learn a little bit more about Ontario. Then we'll be back shortly with Brittany to learn more about ostriches. We are now back with Brittany, so she'll continue to take us on a tour around her farm to learn more about ostriches. And then, Brittany, we're just waiting for you to turn back your camera. Perfect. I'll turn it over to you.
All right, so here we have our 12 to 14 month ostriches. So these guys are not fully grown yet, but they're almost there. So these guys here are a mix of male and female, and they're about 7 feet tall. And if we wait just a few minutes, they're all going to come up and visit us. So ostriches are very social, so they really like to be around each other. And if there's anyone at a fence or any action going on, they're coming right up to check it out. And if I leave my phone here too long, they'd probably come right up to the phone and start pecking at my phone. So they're very curious, very social, and definitely a little bit quirky. So you can kind of see, I think it's on your right-hand side, but you'll see a bird that has a bit more of a pink beak, and you'll see some black feathers coming in on this guy. So that one is a male, and so he's getting older now, closer to 1.5 years. So he's almost got all of his black feathers in and a nice pink beak. This one here is a, whoop, they're coming close. This one here is a female. She's got the gray beak, gray feathers. So if you kind of look at their bodies there, you can see the difference between the gray color here for female and then the darker black color there for a male. And so, yeah, they're super curious, always pecking. They can run up to 70 kilometers an hour. So they're very fast birds. And they like to be in a group, so they like to hang out with each other. You don't often see an ostrich sitting alone by itself. They like to be together. And they do a lot of imitating. So if one bird runs, they all run. If one bird pecks, they all start pecking. And you can see their feet here. They have reptile-looking feet and legs. And again, just like that baby chick we saw in the ostrich egg, it had that sharp toenail. These guys have really sharp toenails too. And that's what they use for defense. So everyone thinks ostriches are extremely aggressive and terrifying looking, but they really are quite social, quite quirky and funny, not looking to attack. But if they were to be attacked by a lion in the wild, or something wants to bother them, they can actually kill a lion if they wanted to. So they would kick forward and use that big toenail there and scrape down at a lion if they had to. But again, they give a lot of warning signs before this. You have to really, really upset an ostrich before it gets to that point. Because otherwise, if I sneeze or if I move the wrong way, these guys are big scaredy cats and they're running away.
I have a great question from a grade 4 class, and they want to know, how much does an ostrich weigh?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So these guys here are about 200 pounds. And as they get bigger, I'll take a walk down and I'll show you our biggest birds that we have. They would get close to about 300 pounds. And that would be our big males.
And then we have another question, which is something I really would like to know the answer of, is do they know how to swim, or do they swim in water?
Yeah, they actually do. They do know how to swim. So if they had to, again, if a predator's chasing them, they needed to cross through water, they could. And they love splashing and playing with puddles. We had a bunch of rain here yesterday, and they were all sitting in there like ducks, splashing around in the water. But other than that, they do actually not like the rain. So they like the dry heat. And so they do much better in dry heat, dry weather. Their feathers are not like duck feathers, and so they don't repel the water. They just get soaked and heavy. So they don't actually love sitting out in the rain. They'll run into the barn usually if it's raining. But if there's like a little puddle, they had to cross through water. They'll have fun in a puddle, cross through water if they have to. But other than that, they like it dry. So this is our other big barn. In the one half of it, we have our yearlings that we just saw here, our 12 to 14-month-old birds. We have them in half that barn, and they go in and out all year as they like. So they just walk in the barn for their food and water, for shelter, and then walk outside in the field whenever they like. On the other half of the barn here is where we have our breeders. So our bigger birds, These are the ones that are fully grown and are laying eggs for us here at the farm. So these guys we actually name and we'll keep for a lifetime. They'll never be a meat bird. And so these ones here have little name tags on their legs.
Brittany,
And this guy
sorry.
here is Lenny, and that one's...
Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought, and then I'll ask a quick question.
Oh, sorry, yeah. This one here is Lenny, so he's a fully grown male. And then that one is a fully grown female, and her name is Jenny. So they share a space together, along with Tina Turnegg, but I think she's hiding in the barn right now.
Very cute. You mentioned a little bit earlier that they go into the barn to feed, and I noticed earlier that they had some pellets when you were showing the younger ostriches. So from a question from Ivana, they want to know what kind of food do they eat? Is this pellet special? Do they eat different things at different life cycle stages?
Yeah, so we have different pelleted feed for different stages of our birds. So we have a pelleted feed specifically for ostrich chicks. And then we have a pelleted feed specific for growing and finishing our teenager birds. And then if we have breeders like these guys here, they have another pelleted feed. It's all very similar. Pretty much it's alfalfa, but there's just a bit of a difference in vitamins and minerals. So the egg layers will obviously get a bit more calcium in their pelleted feed. But they also will graze on the grass that we have here in the field for them. They're naturally omnivores, so if there is like a couple critters, little mouse running around, like they'll scoop up anything. That's kind of a bit of a problem with ostriches, is they'll eat absolutely anything, so you do have to be a bit careful what's around them.
That's so interesting. And then we have a question from Everett, who's age 7, and they want to know why they have such long necks and if there's a benefit to the length of their neck.
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. I don't really know if I know the exact answer for that. I do know they're related to the dinosaurs. So at one point, there was, I should know the name of that dinosaur, but I don't. I'm sure all dinosaur lovers, you guys will know, but there's a dinosaur there related to. So maybe it's just the evolution of that and how they have their long neck. Otherwise, their long neck, the use of it here is they just like can reach to the ground because they're quite tall. They can then reach to the ground to peck at things. And they also use that neck and their beak to kind of move around their eggs in the nest if they have to. So there's a bit of a use that way. Other than that, I'm not entirely sure.
That's a great question. And to Everett, we challenge you to go do a little bit of research and look it up, see if you can give us, find a little bit more about it for us. So I'll hand it back to Brittany to keep on going.
Yeah, so then these guys here are egg layers. We put them in groups of 3. So 1 male with 2 females. And unfortunately, we can't have them dance on demand, but they do some really pretty dramatic dances. And so the male will get down right on his knees and he'll flap his wings back and forth and move his neck back and forth. And he does that to show off to the females. And the females will kind of just do a little bit of a flutter of the wings. But I don't think they're going to do it for us today. But it's almost the end of breeding season too, so they do it a lot more in the summertime. They'll do a lot more of their dancing then, and they're showing off then. But they do have some, if you Google it, that's another kind of challenge for you guys. Google ostrich male dancing, and it's quite a fun dance. Their wings are beautiful. Go out as a big fan, and yeah, it's a really interesting dance to see.
And we have another question for you, Brittany, from Judah in grade 2, and they want to know if grown males would fight each other if they're territorial in any way.
Yes, they are. So especially in the spring and summer, we know just to leave these big guys alone. They like their space, and they do like to fight in the spring and summer. And so you can see here, we have 1 male on one side of the fence, 1 male on the other side. We will put them together in the spring and summer because they will fight and get a bit territorial. But in the winter time, they calm right down. And so we can actually put them as a one big group. And so sometimes in the winter, we will put them in one big group together. So it just depends. And some birds have different personalities once they hit like this age. And so some of them definitely can't share a pen with other males, and other males are calmer and they can. So sometimes it just depends on the bird too.
We have another question, Brittany, and then we'll let you finish off a few things. And you may or may not know the answer to this question, but someone's wondering if there's a difference between an ostrich and an emu.
Yeah, there is. They're very similar product-wise. So they both produce similar tasting meat, similar great benefits of the oil. So in that sense, very similar. But emus are smaller. I like to think they're a little bit more, what's the best word for it? Ostriches are a bit more quirky. Emus have a little bit more of an attitude, I think. So I don't know if some of you have seen Karen the emu, but some emus are, yeah, have a little bit more of an attitude than an ostrich will. But yeah, ostriches are bigger, but they come from the same similar rat-type family. There's like the emus, the ostriches, the rheas. Ostriches are originally from Africa, so that's where their origin is from. Emus are Australian, and same with the rheas. So they come from different continents as well.
Well, we're just in the stages of bringing up one more question. But before we do that, Brittany, is there any final things you want to show us on this tour, just to wrap things up?
Yeah. I don't think so. I think I kind of said most things.
Perfect.
Again, this is a fully grown male, so this would be one of our biggest birds that we have in front of me now. And then a fully grown female coming behind too.
And they're so fascinating. And we have one more question from a grade 3 student. Do ostriches have teeth?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, no, they don't. So that helps when they do peck you out of curiosity. They're just giving you a little pinch. There's no teeth, which is great. Yeah. So if I get too close, they would take my hat off, pull my hair, but they're not gonna do too much damage because they have no teeth.
Well, Brittany, we're at the end of our tour. Is there any final words you'd like to share with all these students joining us from across Canada?
Just gonna see if I can turn my camera here again. Sorry. There we go.
Oh, and it looks like we accidentally lost Brittany. She just kind of left us for a second. She accidentally hit the exit button. So we just hope that she'll be back with us in a moment. In the meantime, we'll just put up the mystery word for today as we're waiting for her to return. And the mystery word is counter, or comptoir en français. And then we just actually had Brittany join us. So we were just waiting for you to return.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened there. But anyways,
Okay.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining. I think it's just such a great program for all you kids just to, yeah, visit some farms and see different farming options. I think we're used to traditional farms in Canada, and it's cool to try something new and different. And so we're always looking for other ostrich farmers. So maybe in the future, you'll remember this tour. You'll remember how cool ostriches are, and remember that it's a really great farming option as well.
Yes, and thank you again, Brittany, for doing this with us. And Brittany's from Struisvogel Ranch. And we're just having a bunch of people who are saying merci and thank you to you for doing this, from Luna and Asher. And we just want to mention that our next stop will be tomorrow on October 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time at a tulip farm in Prince Edward Island. So we're going from ostriches to learning about tulips. So thank you to you, Brittany. Thank you to everyone joining us. And goodbye for now, or à bientôt.
All right. Thank you. Bye.